Thank you very much. Shalom. Greetings to you all. I hope you all had a great holiday and got to spend time with family and friends. It's a wonderful opportunity to share love with those who have great meaning in your life, or failing that, with whoever you may have been with. And let us all please wish good surgery, speedy recovery for Kora. So let's take a moment as a group. Send out healing energy to all who need it. To Corrine, to Lindsay, to Ethel. And feel free to think of the names of those you know in need of healing and say them out loud or say them in your own mind's eye. Mi sheberach avotenu makor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Let's all have our spirits renewed. Now, congratulations go to Lindsay and Mark on the birth of the son, Parker Callum. You two will make fantastic parents, and I know that Jack and Maureen will be an amazing Bubby and Zadie. And there go the dogs. Now, I have several weddings and namings coming up, and on the 19th of this month, I'll be conducting a walking labyrinth meditation here in Toronto at High Park. And certainly, if any of you in the Greater Toronto area are welcome, and I've attached a brochure for your review. And for those who cannot make it but would like a copy of the meditation, please send me an email, and I will forward it along to you. Now, this is a great week, friends. We have a parsha that deals with what the rabbis have always referred to as the Great Rebellion, Kora. Now, rebellion's an interesting word. It belongs to that category of terms where the same thing can be said two different ways, and that depends on the winning side. Now, in this case, the winner has a revolution, the loser a rebellion. And so this parsha begins with a rebellion, and it ends with magic. And it can be a little confusing, but as they say, I'll tell you about the magic, it'll free your soul, but it's like trying to tell a stranger about rock and roll. Well, magic and rock and roll do go hand in hand. Well, last week our leaders chose fear, and fear has consequences. And an underlying theme throughout the entire Tanakh is the personal taking of responsibility. Yes, it is nice to put everything on an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent being, but friends, we create everything in our lives. We captain our own ships through that fantastic gift of choice of free will. And maybe, just maybe at some point we take responsibility and say, okay, God, it's not you, it's me. Well, we saw hints of a general population rebellion when the murmuring, complaining, dissatisfied talk of the people began with the adventure in the wilderness, and now we read about two rebellions fused together in most people's minds to appear as one. Both fascinating. One, a Levite rebellion, a religious rebellion, by those who argued that if all were holy, why should the priesthood belong exclusively to Aaron and his family? The other, Reubenite, the first son, a political rebellion against an unelected, unappointed leader. Fascinating, simply fascinating. Now, the religious one is led by Kora. He's Moses' and Aaron's cousin. He's the prototype of some politicians, religious leaders, and others who act as though they represent a group and are working for the people when their motives are suspect. Number 16:2. And 250 people from the children of Israel, chieftains of the congregation, prominent ones of the assembly, people of repute. And they assembled against Moses and against Aaron, and said to them, you have much, because all of the congregation, all of them are holy, and the Lord is among them. Why do you raise yourselves up over God's community? Well, that's a really interesting thing. It is true. All the people are holy, but not all are necessarily ready. Telling a child that they're a big boy or girl does not guarantee all the rights and privileges of adulthood. And Moses gives a great answer. He says to them, in the morning, the Lord will make known who is his and who is holy, and he will bring him close to him, and he will bring the one he chooses close to him. We'll talk about taking choice out of our hands. Let somebody else decide. Did you ever have to finally decide? Say yes to one and let the other one ride. With so many changes and tears you must hide. Did you ever have to finally decide? Well, it's nice if we take it out of our hands. We don't have to. This is designed to simply let God decide. So is this a rebellion against Moses? No. This is the challenge of Aaron's right to be high priest. Now, at the same time as this is going on, Dathan is leading rebellion against Moses to lead the people. So we have rebellions against church and state, both controlled by the same family, taking place simultaneously, and I am sure creating an amazing sense of anarchy. So Moses sets up a test for which God will judge, as he says, and choose who serves the holy. And the test involves incense. Now, it's a brilliant tool to choose because incense is the tool of the priest, used in almost all rituals, still to this day in any Catholic Mass, and probably what Nadab and Abihu, Aaron's sons, were burning when they contravened the laws of holiness. Good sense, innocence, crippling mankind, dead kings, many things I can't define. Occasions, persuasions, clutter your mind. Incense and peppermints, the color of time. How many of you remember that incense peppermint by the Strawberry Alarm Clock in 1967? Well, why incense? Well, if it is the closest symbol to holy service, it's fitting that any who think they're equal to the task participate. So Moses now turns to the second rebellion when Dathan says to him in Numbers 16:13, is it a small thing that you brought us up from a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, that you lord it over us as well? Now notice how Dathan says Egypt was the land flowing with milk and honey. How political. Accuse the liberator of causing the problem. Now this is a battle for leadership. This is the political battle. This is a battle for power. And it dramatizes the danger of the power-seeking politician who is a skillful speaker. Once again, Moses relies on divine intervention. We cannot. Now this, of course, is immortalized by the fantastic Charlton Heston Edward G. Robinson confrontation in the wilderness in the Ten Commandments. When Moses throws the tablets at the golden calf and the earth opens and swallows the rebels up, the two rebellions shown there as one. Well, this book is a little bit different, so please do read the story. It's quite good. And you do like the story parts of the Torah more, do you not? Well, the Korah-Aaron rebellion ends with all the incense challengers being incinerated, while the Dathan-Moses rebellion ends with the earth opening, swallowing the rebels, and closing again. Not your average earthquake. In fact, both of these are divine judgments and actions. So how do the people respond to all this? Well, we see it in Numbers 17:6. And all the congregation of the children of Israel complained the next day against Moses and against Aaron, saying, you killed the Lord's people. Notice, friends, not God killed them, but you, meaning Moses, had. Why do we have such a hard time believing? Especially this, the only generation witness to God. Now, it's not the old saying, videre est credere, seeing is believing. These people actually did see, but still did not believe. Everything instead was projected onto Moses. Now, we emphasize that we should believe as the greatest sign of faith, even when we have no physical evidence. Boy, how things have changed. It's not you, God, it's me. Friends, the book of Numbers is a series of stories that are variations on a theme. When you read that the people make the same error again and again, directing their complaints toward their human leaders rather than towards the deity who is in fact responsible for their fortunes, you might view this as mere repetition. It is not just repetition. God tells Moses, move away and he'll kill all the people. But Moses intercedes again, Numbers 17:12, and here the plague had begun among the people, and he put in incense and made atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was halted. And the dead in the plague were 14,700, apart from the dead over the matter of Kora. Well, what do the people learn? Similar to Exodus, closeness to the divine results in fear. And so instead of the people coming closer to God, each episode of cosmic intervention pushes them further away. So each new episode of conflict and divine response does not resolve the problem, but only leads to another stage of it. You will read about these large numbers of dead every time God moves to kill the people. And this helps create and foster the belief in the fear of God, not the love of God. Fear is a constricting and constraining force of energy in the universe. Love is an expansive one. And we do know the universe keeps expanding. So what does that tell you? Perhaps man who wrote this book lives in a world of fear and has not moved past it. In all these thousands of years, it does not look like he's moving past it yet. Well, the true force of creation is love and the singularity of everything. It's an interesting thing about man. In our closest to the divine, we pushed him away. Now that God has turned away from us and there's no recognizable cosmic episode in our lives, we move towards faith and belief again. Now the Parsha ends in magic and in a fantastic foreshadowing in that great biblically ironic way. The decision of who will take the priestly role for the future is also left for God to decide. So each of the 12 houses will put a staff in front of the tent of testimony, Numbers 17:22. And Moses left the staffs in front of God in the tent of the testimony. And it was the next day. And Moses came to the tent of the testimony, and here Aaron's staff of the house of Levi had bloomed. And it brought out a bloom, and it made a blossom, and it produced almonds. How cool is that? Everyone takes their staff back, except Numbers 17:25. And God said to Moses, put back Aaron's staff in front of the testimony for watching over, for a sign to rebels. Put back Aaron's staff in front of the testimony for watching over, for a sign to rebels. Aaron's staff, the one that magically and miraculously blossomed, is now saved by the ark as a reminder for when people will rebel in the future. This will be crucial to the event that will determine Aaron's fate later, when the people will rebel at Meribah. It will also become not Aaron's staff, but the staff of leadership, to be handed down in perpetuity. The ancient Hebrew crook and flail, the symbols of great power. Yes, the world is sacred, says everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. We take twists and turns in the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn to be to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. The time to celebrate your holiness is now, is always. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week. We can love and light and peace and healing and honor the people of your life. But be careful. The world right now is just a little bit on the inside out stage. Be careful where you're walking. You might step in something rough. Be careful where you're talking, saying all that stuff. Take care where you are breathing. Something's funny in the air. And some things I'm not saying about what's happening out there. It's Inside Out by the Traveling Wilburys, and things are inside out right now. Do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It's in sight for you all. It's right there waiting for you. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading your holiness. Do not follow fear. Thank you all for joining me, for participating, for sharing with me the gift of your sacred time in your sacred space. I love you all, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Shabbat Shalom.